Come in.
Dr. Gully.
Yes, what is it?
Mrs. Cox. Shall I show her in?
Mrs. Cox? Oh, yes, of course.
Good morning, Dr. Gully.
Good morning. Thank you, Pritchard. Well, is there anything I...
Mrs. Ricardo has asked me to return your letters. She hopes you will return the ones you wrote to her, if you still have them.
Yes. Yes, I have her letters. I shall return them all, of course.
I will send Griffiths along later. Mrs. Ricardo has asked me to return your gifts to her as well.
My gifts?
Mrs. Ricardo is anxious that there should be nothing at the priory after her marriage to Mr. Bravo. You knew, of course, that she is engaged to marry Mr. Bravo.
No.
I thought she had told you.
No. I understood from her in Brighton. Clearly matters have proceeded more swiftly than I anticipated. As they do with her, when she has fixed her mind.
Yes. I'm sorry, Dr. Gully. I thought she had told you.
Well, in her way, I suppose she had.
She asked me to return this to you as well.
I shall not take that. She asked for it to wear in secret. Let her destroy the thing herself.
Dr. Gully, I am sorry. You know I respect you. Mrs. Ricardo asked me.
Yes. Yes, of course.
I will leave it here. Griffiths will come later with the presents. Thank you, Pritchard. I will see myself out.
You rang, sir?
Yes. It was for Mrs. Cox. No matter. Griffiths will be calling later with some things from the priory. See that they're handled carefully. There are some heavy items, pictures...
Yes, sir, of course.
Oh. And you might give him this. It's the key to the priory gate. I shall not be seeing Griffiths myself, you understand?
Yes, Dr. Gully.
And one thing more. You will not admit either Mrs. Ricardo or Mrs. Cox to this house again. Will you remember that?
Yes, Dr. Gully. I'm very glad to hear it, if I may say so.
Well, that is my order.
Florence, some more tea.
No, thank you, Mrs. Bravo.
Joseph?
One cup does for me.
As always, my dear.
Florence and we have decided upon a change of plan. We should like the wedding to take place on December the 7th, so that her brother, William, can attend.
The 7th? That's a week earlier.
Yes, it is.
It seems very rushed.
Mamma, what difference does a week make?
When everything is rushed already, it makes a deal of difference. You don't know each other very well. And what do your parents say, my dear? It falls most heavily on them.
They are quite agreeable.
Then it hardly seems we should object.
I do not think I can manage it, if it must be the 7th.
Oh, I say.
Oh, no, my darling, you must say nothing. I cannot possibly impose my own desires on this. The day is yours and Florence's. You must determine when it shall be.
Well, I'm sure Florence won't insist. Will you, my own?
Your mother has not yet told us the reason why she cannot be present on the day we choose.
Whatever reason.
Oh, my dear boy, écoute-moi. Florence suspects that I oppose this marriage. That is what she means. Let there be no argument, especially over tea. If I can possibly come, I will. If not, you must accept my absence with understanding, as I'm sure you will.
Why, it's
No,
ridiculous.
Charles. There must be no further discussion of it now.
Well, Governor, if you say so. All the same.
December scarcely seems a month for marriages. So cold.
Would you step in here a moment, Mr. Bravo?
There's a cab waiting for me at the door.
Ah, yes. I could, of course, have seen you in the city, but Mrs. Ricardo told me that you would pass through Streatham, so
I know all that. I tell you what I want, Brooks, a copy of the bill in Chancery in Ricardo versus Campbell.
Ah, yes. An unhappy business. I have it here. I have all the documents relating to Mrs. Ricardo's affairs. I've been Mrs. Ricardo's solicitor many years now. Many vicissitudes. I hope you will allow me, as an old friend, to offer my congratulations to you on your engagement.
Damn your congratulations. I only want the money.
Then pray forgive me.
Oh, hang it, man, I don't mean that. I have to have details of the action she brought against her father. There's everything in there relating to her first marriage settlement. Our wedding's in a fortnight's time. I must see to it.
I've already drafted the new marriage settlement, Mr. Bravo, on Mrs. Ricardo's advice. Yeah, here's Ricardo versus Campbell.
Good. That's what I want. Have you sent Mrs. Ricardo a copy of the draft settlement?
I took it to her yesterday. On her instructions, she retains the furniture and effects at the priory, the pair of cobs, 2 carriages, and the plate.
What?
Those were her instructions, Mr. Bravo.
Furniture? She told you that?
Yes, Mr. Bravo. I believe your cab is waiting.
She cannot. I shall see to it. Good day, Brooks.
Come in.
Griffiths brought your message.
James.
It was the last thing I expected, to receive a summons from you.
James, won't you sit down?
Florence, why have you sent for me?
There was no one else for me to turn to. I must know what to do. I had a row with Charlie, Mr. Bravo, last night.
From what cause?
Money.
Oh, I see.
I think it is the only matter that concerns him. I do not think he loves me.
Surely you're wrong.
Then why does he go on so? Every penny of our income will come from me. His father has made a settlement on him, but there will be nothing from that until Mr. Bravo dies. All I want is to keep my things here, the furniture, the horses and the carriages. He says he must have everything that I possess, even my clothes.
Your clothing? He mentioned that?
If he did not, it comes to the same thing. He says he will not own the chair he sits in, but it isn't true. Everything else I have belongs to him after we are married. What more does he want?
If what you say is true, why exclude these items by your settlement?
Well, they're my things. Things I chose with you. It is in name only. They will be mine still.
If it is in name only, you must determine what is important to you. Your future marriage or your things.
He says he will not marry me unless I give them up.
Then what I say is true.
I am so angry with him. You must decide for me. You must tell me what to do.
What I think you should do?
Yes.
I see. Taking account of everything, I think it will be wrong to let him come into the house supposing he is not the master of it.
Because of what has happened? I mean, between us?
He knows of that.
Yes. As my future husband, I told him everything. I felt I should.
Well, even more then. I hope it will turn out well.
Thank you, Jamie.
I must not stay. You have my view of things now, if that'll help you.
Yes, it does. I will do as you advise me.
Goodbye, Florence. This must be the last.
Yes, it must. Goodbye.
Oh, hello, Doctor.
Oh, hello, Griffith. Are you waiting to see Mrs. Ricardo?
Ah, me after you, sir, eh? I don't suppose you'll be looking for a coachman, Dr. Gollington, will you?
Oh, dear, no. Why? Are you leaving?
Oh, has to be seen, sir, isn't it? Oh, I'm sorry for that, sir. Honest, I am. You know, I like the old days in Malvern with you, Doctor. I do. Still, well, there we are, then.
Yes, indeed. Well, good day to you.
Sir.
Come in.
You asked to see me, Ma?
Yes, come in, Griffiths.
Wait until you was free.
I have spoken to Mr. Bravo about the accident in Bond Street when you were driving me and Mrs. Cox. I have told him all the circumstances. And I am afraid he feels that he cannot trust you to drive me in the future. So you see, I have no alternative but to dismiss you from my service. I am very sorry, after so long.
It weren't my fault, Ma.
The driver of the spirit cart thought otherwise.
Oh, well, he
and
would, Ma,
you were driving very fast.
Oh, no, Ma. I mean, you told me to drive fast, didn't you? I mean, it was the Lord Mayor's Day, wasn't it? That's why there was so much traffic. I was on the right side of the road, Ma, wasn't I? I mean, nobody can say I wasn't. See, that spirit car, it was moving over into the centre.
I'm sorry, Griffiths. Mr. Bravo has made up his mind, and that must be the end of it. You shall have a month's notice. When Mr. Bravo and I return to the priory after the marriage, I expect to find you gone.
Very well, Ma'am. That's what you tells me. That's how it must be.
I'm afraid it must.
Well, as you say, it's been a long time. I did think, in view of things, that it might have been overlooked. You know, seeing as how I helped you in the past. I mean, when Captain Ricardo was still living.
Captain Ricardo?
All that trouble with his drinking, ma'am, and the brandy and all that.
The
no?
past can make no difference now.
No, as you say, ma'am.
I shall provide you with a character, and I shall make no reference to this mishap. I shall simply say that Mr. Bravo wished to make other arrangements for his horses. That will be understood.
Thank you, Mrs. Ricardo. That's very square of you. That'll be January the 3rd, then, you'll want us out the lodge.
Well, Mr. Bravo and I shall not be returning to the priory till later in the month. We go away after the wedding.
Oh, I see, ma'am. After the wedding.
Down at the bath, George. I thought Mrs. Ricardo was marrying today.
Ah, she is.
What, have you not gone to the wedding?
Me? Oh, got Wadsworth County Court.
Not in trouble, are you?
Oh, I've had a summons for some vegetables. You know, ales up Brixton.
Falling behind with your bills again, are you?
Oh, well, better make haste, get the train, tonight. Better be on time, mate. Here. I bet Mrs. Ricardo's had a bit of brandy and cider this morning, eh? For the wedding, eh?
She likes the job, does she?
Oh, poor fella. Here, I wouldn't like to be an issue. Here, I'll tell you something. He'll not be alive 4 months. There you are, there you are.
That's your grudge against him.
No odds to me. No, after me train. Bye, Mr. Stringer.
Good day, George.
Come along, Sky. Oh! Marianne, they're home. Mr. and Mrs. Brown. Marianne!
Good morning, madam.
Oh, Janie. Oh, you're home before I expected you.
Hello, Mr. Sky. He's looking fatter. Have you been overfeeding him?
It's more likely to be Marianne.
Glad to see you home, Thank you, Marianne.
I'm too fond of him in the kitchen.
Oh, how glad I am to be back in my dear old priory.
Hello, Mrs. Cox.
Welcome home, Mr. Bravo.
I'll take these up to your room, sir.
Well, thank you, Marianne. Do you think Florence is looking better?
Oh, yes, she's got more colour. She was so pale when she sent for me, and Brighton I was most concerned. In view of her condition.
Our visit to her parents at Buscott Park has improved her.
Jane, come here. This room is damp.
What?
You had fires lighted every day.
Every day while I have been here, I've been most particular about that.
There's a smell of damp in the room. Charlie? Charlie, what is it?
A letter forwarded from the temple. You will know who has sent this.
What is it?
You know very well. Nobody could have written that but Dr. Gully.
Dr. Gully? You imagine that?
Who else would know about it? It says that you and he were lovers.
Where's the letter from?
Oh, it is vile. Anonymous, of course. Dr. Gully would never write in such a fashion. It's unthinkable. It is not his hand.
Who else would know about it? Are you telling me that the whole of Balham knows how you carried on?
Certainly they will, unless you keep your voice down. Charlie, it is people who know nothing who write such things. It's a stupid slander.
There is no defense against a slander if it is true.
Not only against me. You have married because you want her money. That is what it says. I hope you will find at least you can defend yourself on that. I'm going to the stable to see the cobs. If you take my advice, you will do one thing with that letter, and that is burn it and never think of it again. I care not a fig for it.
If she had not told me about Gully, I would have been on the high seas tonight. Is it from Gully? Tell me.
I do not think it can be. It is not his hand.
What shall I do? Do you think that I should keep it?
No, Mr. Bravo. I think you should burn it, as Florence told you.
She will not go wrong again. Having once gone wrong, that is less likely. Is that not so?
Yes, Mr. Bravo. I think it is.
Charles, remember what the doctor said.
We doctors are supposed to be such clever fellows, but we don't always know the reasons. Cousin Charlie will tell you that I know everything, but I fear he's wrong.
What must I do, Royce?
Rest. That's all you can. I don't want her to be disturbed in any way for a week at least.
Yes, Mr. Bell, I understand.
After that, you'll see. A couple of weeks at the seaside might be the answer, but not with Charlie. He's far too restless. I'll have a word with him on my way out.
Oh, thank you, Royce.
And I'll call again tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Just keep your bed.
Shall I draw the curtain?
Jane, what will Charlie say?
Because you have lost his child.
Royce is going to tell him he must not sleep in here. Charlie is so difficult. He tires me dreadfully. He's like a spoiled child if I deny him in any way at all.
He's young. You have not been married very long.
You think that he will change?
Well, what's your verdict?
Charles, old fellow, I'm afraid you're not going to be a father. At least not for the present.
It was a miscarriage.
An early one, yes. Sometimes happens. Next time I expect she'll be as right as rain.
How is she?
Oh, fine.
Florence is a brick.
Good little woman, yes.
Would you care for a drink?
No, I must get back to the hospital.
Parton will take you.
Thank you very much. Charlie, there is one thing.
Yes?
You have a room of your own that you can sleep in.
Yes, next door to ours. Florence's.
Keep to it for the present. There's a good fellow. She mustn't be disturbed. I'd like her to spend a week or two beside the sea when she's fit enough to travel.
I'm sure your mother would be pleased to have you back for a while at Palace Grove.
Oh, yes, she'll be pleased well enough.
Oh, come on, Charlie. First, fine, careless, rapturous.
Well, not altogether. Oh, hang it, Royce, you and I have known each other since we were 5 years old. Florence is... well, she's very fond of me, you know.
Of course she is.
And I'm fond of her, very fond. She drinks too much after dinner, that's her trouble. And then she's sleepy. And then we go to bed.
Damn it, Royce, a fellow when he's just married, he expects more than that. That's what I mean.
Just give it time, Charlie. That's all she needs.
She has been married before, you know.
Yes, but you haven't. And women aren't all the same. You haven't got a mistress now, Charlie. You've got a wife and a good woman. And that makes a difference.
By Jove, you're right. I'm not good enough for her, that's the trouble. Don't worry, Royce, she'll be all right with me. Palace Green, February the 15th. My darling wife, looking back on the 10 weeks of our marriage, I feel that many of my words to you, although kindly meant, were unnecessarily harsh. In future, my rebukes, if it be necessary to say anything, shall be given with the utmost gentleness. I hold you to be the best of wives. We have had bitter trouble, but I trust every day to come, the sweet peace of our lives will not so much as be disturbed by memories like these. I wish I could sleep away my life till you return. When you come back, I will so take care of you that you will never leave me again. May you have bright weather and come back well to your devoted husband, Charles.
Florence? Ro! Marianne? Florence, are you home? Sky, where's your mistress?
This dog's a fool.
Got you! I came home as fast as I could. The railway company put 20 new stations on the line just for today. No, it's the honest truth, I swear it. Never was a train so slow. And in court, the hands were crawling round the clock so that every minute seemed an hour. By George, I wish I'd been paid at that rate.
Have you made lots of money while I've been away?
No, times are hard. I borrowed 500 from the governor who'll take it out of my allowance. Today I was only deviling.
Deviling?
Standing in for a fellow who's retained on a case being heard at the same time, yes. No fee. Mind you, he's silk. One of these days I'll get a present of a little red bag from him.
Then you'll be silk as well?
Well, not quite. But you're picking up barrister's lingo. Let's take a look at you. Oh, yes. You do look better.
Truly.
And I have missed you. Something awful.
Oh, Charles. I've got a present for you. Something I made.
For me?
Yes, but you mustn't laugh. Promise.
Promise.
You know how your mother worries about you taking cold, especially when you go riding. Well, I've made you this.
Ye gods! What the devil is it?
Oh, you said you wouldn't laugh.
I have never been more earnest in my life, I swear. Am I supposed to wear this? It's a cross between a kilt and a spoddon and a pair of bathing drawers. Mrs. Cox, I appeal to you. Have you seen this garment that Florence has prepared for me?
I have indeed.
Well, nothing will induce me to wear it.
Charlie, it will not be seen.
I think it will become you.
Yes.
Like this?
Yes, come here, let me tie it.
No.
Yes, Charlie, give it back, Charlie, you tear
I have
it.
another use for it.
Charlie,
A lag stopper. Ha ha. Hoist with your own petard.
I never did know what the deuce that was. A petard. That's what it is.
shall. I shall write to her tomorrow. Will you do it? She treats you like a child. I tell you, I shall write your mother such a letter that she shall never interfere in our affairs again. Since I came home, I've had no kind word from her, and now she dares to object because the doctor says I may need a change of air.
You have just had a change of air.
And not only that, I'm too extravagant. I must dispense with my maids, sell my horses. She's even dared suggest I spend too much on the garden.
It was only Mrs. Cox you mentioned this time.
Only Mrs. Cox?
I worked it out myself, you know. By giving up the cobs and Mrs. Cox, we could save $300 or $400 a year.
The cobs are mine, and anyway...
I pay for them.
Yes, and that is all you do. Everything falls on me, the house, the servants. But she should dare to mention Mrs. Cox, my only friend.
Oh, come on, Florence. There'll be a row if you go on about her. You've drunk too much again.
No. If I'm not fit to be your wife, as you and your mother say, you shall not treat me as one.
What do you mean?
I'm tired. You've had your pleasure every night since I came home. Tonight you shall not.
And if I say I shall? You are not ill now.
I hate you, you and your fat old mother. Ah! Oh! Oh!
Now, I shall go and cut my throat.
Charlie, no. Charlie, don't... Charlie!
Now, will you sleep with me?
No. Oh, no, Charlie. Janie! Oh, Janie! Oh! Janie! 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 Oh.
Mr. Bravo, where are you going? Mr. Bravo!
I'm leaving. Leaving this house for good.
Charles, you must listen to me. Florence has asked me to come to you. She says she will forgive you.
She forgive me?
Think what will happen if you go. What a scandal there will be. What will people say?
Some will say that it is her fault, and some will say that it is mine.
And your mother?
My mother will be glad to have me back at any price.
Then for Florence's sake, you know she loves you.
No.
You're wrong. Even if she did not, you have a duty. You have a duty to her as her husband. You must remember that.
My duty?
Yes. Your vows.
You are right. Is Florence in your room?
Yes, she's sleeping. And you must go to bed.
Yes. Yes. I was wrong.
Where is he?
Hmm?
Ellie says that Charles has arrived and looks very pale.
There's no call to alarm yourself, my dear.
Well, tell me what the matter is.
It appears that he has eaten something that has disagreed with him.
Oh, dear.
He vomited on his way from the priory this morning.
He was sick.
So he tells me.
Where is he now?
He went to the cloakroom, as you would expect.
Oh, Charles, what's the matter? I've just heard.
I'm all right, Mama. Please don't fuss. I feel much better, so much better. I have just relieved my bowels. It was most violent.
You were sick? You're never sick. Never when I had care of you.
Well, I was today. I was walking to the Balham station. Lord knows what people must have thought, but I couldn't really help that. I was afraid they might think I had been drinking.
I'll get you something.
No, Mama, I beg you. I don't want anything just now. I shall drink some curacao in a little while, but nothing now.
He'll be all right, Mary.
Father Joseph, can you wait for me? I'm going up to Westminster. I wanted to talk to you about this Egyptian business. I'm thinking of asking Brown to sell my bonds.
I would do nothing hasty. It's my opinion the Khedive will pay.
Yes, I agree with you.
You must not talk business now. I shall not allow it. Oh, my poor boy. What has that woman done to you? I told her she would ruin you. I told her to her face.
Oh, please, Mama, cut it.
Well, I will say nothing for the present.
You can leave off Florence anyhow. She's going to Buscott Park. Harrison said she needed a change of air.
At least that will not be an additional expense. But our parents are in Rome. There's no one at Basket.
Yes, I know.
You must stay here so that I can make you well again. You will allow I can do that.
Oh, yes, of course. You can do that.
Thank you, Marianne. I'll see to the rest.
Very good, Mrs. Cox.
It is March. Feels like January. I was so cold at Basket.
Is that why you came home?
No. I was lonely. Je suis enceinte.
Again.
I think Charlie will be pleased. It makes me lonely to be without him.
He is lonely without you. That is why he took Mr. Skye with him.
Yes, he wrote and told me. He promised to be home to supper.
I have had some news while you have been away.
You, Jane?
From Jamaica. My aunt has not been well. She wants me to return and help her.
You will not go.
I do not want to go.
Jane.
I must talk about it.
Well, I shall not hear of it. Now, Charles has told me he is going to be away in April.
Only at Brighton Sessions, a week at the most.
And what will happen to your two boys at the end of term?
Ah, well, Mr. Joseph Bravo.
The governor and I have talked together about Mrs. Cox's boys. I would be quite happy for them to spend the holidays here with you and me, if she must go.
Ah, but I do not think she must go. Must you?
I will inquire further about my aunt's state of health. It is on that I must decide. I could mention to her the question of my fare for the passage. Oh, I do not need the money. But it will justify my delay in making up my mind.
Then you will certainly not go for the present.
Although Mr. Joseph Bravo said I should.
I'll fix the governor, if that is what you want, my love.
Then that is settled.
How are the hens laying?
Not at all well.
It's this beastly weather.
I fear it is.
If you go up to London next week, I should like you to acquire for me a lawn tennis.
Whom will you play with, Charlie?
Oh, I don't know. Royce can give me a game when he comes down, and I can play with Jane's young fellows. Roe, do you play tennis?
I have never done so, Mr. Bravo.
I shall teach you. The exercise would do you good.
Thank you, sir. I should enjoy that very much.
Have you been riding, Charlie?
Not while you've been away. Florence, ta promesse. C'est assez pour ce soir.
Very well, Charlie. If you say so.
You must be careful now, my love.
We must both be careful.
I never want you to have to go away from me again, or to be away from you. Hang Brighton Sessions.
Well, it is 2 weeks yet.
And I'll leave you Mr. Skye.
Skye? Skye, where are you? Jane, have you seen Mr. Skye anywhere?
I thought he was with you.
I want to wash him. He always knows. I expect he's hiding.
I will find him if you want.
No, no, no. He'll be in the kitchen. I'll go.
Marianne will fetch him for you. Oh, is something wrong?
Oh, Charlie will not believe me. I have done nothing that I should not while he has been away, have I?
Florence, are you sure?
Oh, like lost.
Dear.
Oh, gently.
Sorry, first class.
Good morning, Dr. Gully.
Ah, Mrs. Cox. Good morning. Thank you.
Fancy seeing you again. Twice in 2 weeks.
Yes. We seem to travel by the same trains. I suggest we move out of the wind, Mrs. Cox.
I have to thank you for the prescription for Jamaican fever.
Ah, you received that?
Yes. All although it seems I shall not be going out there just at present. Mrs. Bravo has miscarried. She has a pain all down her spine. Cannot sleep at nights.
I'm sorry to hear that. Very sorry.
I want to use a hydropathic treatment. Do you think that sponging her back would do her good?
Yes. Spinal washes will be beneficial with cold water and cold sitz baths night and morning. You say she cannot sleep.
For the pain, yes.
She's driven frantic with ordinary sedatives. I'll see what I can think of.
Thank you. If you are visiting your son, you might perhaps deliver it to my house in the Lancaster Road.
Very easily. It's on my way.
I shall be calling later to collect rent from my tenants. I only mention it because the prescription for fever seemed to upset Mr. Bravo when I received it. He must have recognized the writing on the envelope. He brought it to me and asked that I open it in his presence, which of course I did.
How strange. But was he satisfied?
Oh, yes.
I'm most anxious not to cause any unpleasantness. If I do think of something for Mrs. Bravo, I'll drop it in at your house in Bayswater, as you suggest.
Thank you, Dr. Gully.
I'm sorry she cannot sleep. I know how that distresses her.
There.
Ah, there you are then. You going to rest?
Yes, Charles.
I thought I would sit in here. You remember that bit I was reading to you, The Merchant of Venice?
I would much rather that you didn't, especially if you're going to smoke. Will you not walk around the estate?
What?
Well, you're so restless. I shall not be able to sleep at all.
Jane is in here?
I was just leaving as it happens.
There is no need.
No, only for me.
It will be better if we both go. I will ask the servants to light a fire in the library.
You shall stay here. She wants you. She does not want me. She has no need of any husband.
Charlie, it isn't true. Please don't upset me.
Who sleeps with you? Not I. She does.
Mr. Bravo.
Leave me alone. Even to have me in the room with you is torture to you. Very well. I came to read to you to keep you company, but it is not wanted. Nothing is wanted from me at all. I shall keep my own company. And if a fire is lighted for me, I shall put it out.
Oh, dear.
Let him go. Childish. The first day I've been out of bed and he will not even let me sleep. Oh, what am I going to do with him? He's so jealous he goes on more and more about Dr. Gully, although he promised... Jane, as soon as I am well again, he is going to make you leave my room. I have had 2 miscarriages already and so much pain. What am I going to do?
We must do the best we can. Get you well again. Mr. Bravo. Florence has gone to bed. Mr. Bravo. Mr. Bravo.
I am not going to her.
Charles, please let me in.
It is no use. I have made up my mind to go.
Because she wanted to lie down this afternoon, just for that.
I have noticed a change for some time now, and this has finished it. I despise myself. I despise myself for marrying her. She's a selfish pig. I wish that she was dead. I wish that I was.
You do not mean what you are saying.
It's no good. I've made up my mind to go.
And what will become of Florence?
Let her go back to Dr. Gully.
There is no cause for you to say such things. Our every thought is for you. Oh, how can you speak of leaving? Royce Bell is coming to play tennis with you. And you have promised my boys to visit them at school on Easter Monday. What will you tell them?
Yes. You are a good little woman. I will always do all I can for you.
Thank you. Good night.
You love Florence, and you have done the best you can for me. I thank you for that. Good night.
Good night, Charles.
My service.
Four points to 2.
Oh, 3-2, surely.
No, Royce. 4-2.
Who's winning?
I am. Ready, Royce?
Yes.
Sorry.
Will that be all, Mrs. Bravo?
Yes, Marianne. Thank you.
Mr. Bravo?
Marianne, I feel very cross.
Do you, sir? What's the matter?
I have the toothache, as you sometimes do.
Do you know what is a good thing for toothache, Marianne?
I have tried laudanum and chloroform.
There was the tincture Mrs. Bravo gave me in the winter. I don't know if there's any left in
Mr. Bravo had some of it last night. It did him no good.
I don't know what you're to have, sir.
It feels better now. Good night, Marianne.
Good night, sir. Good night, madam.
Charlie, can I have some more wine?
You have already drunk almost a whole bottle of
It
Marsala.
helps me to sleep. Charlie, don't be mean to me.
You are mean to me.
No. No, Charlie. Oh, Charlie, no. Charlie, Jane will be coming. Charlie, you must understand.
You let him, an old man.
When I had that miscarriage, I told him he must never touch me again, and he never did. Say what you like about him.
Was it a miscarriage?
I have told you.
Yes, you have told me. Tomorrow, then.
I'm not too tired. Charlie, you forgot the glass. With a little water, there's a good boy.
Good evening, sir. Satisfactory day?
Yes, indeed.
Charlie?
Hello.
Come and talk to me. What did you do after I left you at Jermyn Street?
I had a steam and a rub and a jolly luncheon with your uncle at St. James's Hall.
And you're not angry anymore?
We'll be all right, you know. People will leave us alone.
Your mother?
Well, not just my old mamma. Everyone. That is what I want. For you and me to be alone.
Go up and see what I've got for you. They're in your bedroom.
For me?
Yes, go and see.
Hello, Marianne.
Hello, sir.
Good old Florrie. I say, that was jolly of you. I needed some of that hair wash.
I remembered. I went back specially to the cooperative stores.
And Cavendish. You won't fuss if I smoke this in here.
Is it good?
Oh,
They
yes.
told me it was the best.
It's too expensive for me as a rule. I shall need something sharp. I'll see if Roe has a knife. Just like you to forget all my unkindness and go and get me things that I like.
You were beastly, Charlie. So mean and jealous.
You know why it is.
as soon as things are right between us. Oh, where's Mrs. Cox?
Charlie, you know, she's gone to Worthing to look at that house.
Oh, yes. Do you still want to go to Worthing?
Royce said I should as soon as I was better.
Shall I come as well?
Won't you be too busy? I thought
I
you
shall
said
come if you want.
Of course, Charlie. I'm sure there'll be room. Gussie will be there as well, of course, but where are you going?
I am going to ride Cremorne.
Oh, Charlie, don't be angry. Well, then go for all I care.
I shall go. I don't want you to go to Worthing. I want you to be here with me. I want my wife to be at home here with me. Is that so strange?
A letter for you, Sam.
Charlie went riding on Cremorne, and he ran away with him on Mitcham Common. Didn't he, Charlie?
So stiff I could hardly reach in my pocket to give the boy a shilling who picked up my hat.
Were you thrown?
He was not thrown, but he was very tired, and I made him take a hot bath. I told him he should have ridden Victor, who has a better mouth.
I say.
What is it, Charlie?
The governor. He's written me a very sharp letter.
Why? What's the cause?
He opened one of mine, from my brokers. It had a sold note in it for some Caledonian railway stock. Damn it. What's he prying for? Saying he doesn't approve of that sort of business because I lost £20. I shall write him a very shirty letter.
Of course you must. He has no right to do that.
Perhaps he opened it in mistake.
Oh, the same, Jane.
Oh, I do not justify it. Are you feeling better now, Charles?
Better?
After your accident on Cremorne?
It was not an accident. The beast ran away with me. That's all. There's no need to fuss. That letter, that's what's upset me.
Don't be upset, Charlie, on my first night down. Now, Jane, I want to hear about the house.
Oh, yes, of course. I have a picture of it here on this postcard. I've marked the one.
It is quite small.
It has a double bedroom.
Only one?
The others are all singles.
Let me see.
Charlie, do you recognize the place? Charlie knows it very well. He has often stayed there with his family.
Looks the usual kind of thing down there to me. Horse and cart, usual traffic in the street. Have you taken it?
From Thursday.
The day after tomorrow.
Yes, I thought I should be well enough to go then. Charlie, I told Gussie...
I shall not be there.
More Burgundy, Sam?
No.
My brother says he's never been there, but Gussie has been before. I told William I was sure we'd visited Worthing together, but he says it was bog to riches. Suddenly it rained all the time, whichever it was. Mama would remember. I shall have to ask her. Promise, Charlie, I would go to bed in good time if I stayed up for supper. You come with me?
There is no need for her to sleep in your room. Not tonight.
I will not allow...
I say there is no need.
Perhaps it would be better...
This is my house and I will do as I please in it!
If it is your house, you are my wife, and you belong to me.
Belong? I don't belong to anyone. I am not a slave. I am a woman, and I will not be treated so...
I say she shall not sleep in your room, or you will see what I shall do.
I shall not be bullied by you. Your silly threats mean nothing to me. You're nothing but a foolish child. Come, Jenny.
Charles. Shall I call Marianne?
Marianne's supper. I shall undress myself. Will you get me some marsala from the cellar with a little water?
Florence, are you sure you want it?
Of course. I shall go up.
Tu as demandé plus de vin. C'est trop. Tu as bouvé presque 2 bouteilles de vin ce soir. Vous-même. Florence, do you hear me?
Florence,
No, don't speak to me. How dare he speak to me? I hate him.
Come in.
Will Mrs. Bravo want anything more tonight?
No, thank you. That will be all. Will you see to the dog?
Where is Sky?
I think he's gone up to my room.
Good night, Mrs. Cox.
Good night, Marianne.
Sky! Come on, Mr. Sky. There's no use you hiding. You come down here. Sky!
Florence, hot water.
Oh, madam, Mr. Bravo's ill. Will you come?
Hot water.
Fetch hot water.
Yes,
Hurry.
Is that enough?
Marianne, I can't wake him up.
Oh, Mum.
Fetch camphor.
Where is it?
In the medicine chest in Mrs. Bravo's room. Hurry, Marianne.
Mrs. Bravo, will you get up? Mr. Bravo's ill.
What?
It's Mr. Bravo.
Oh, isn't it?
I don't know, Mum, but he seems very ill. Charlie.
Charlie, what have you done?
I can't wake him up.
Oh, no. Charlie. Who have you sent for?
Mr. Harrison.
Why did you not send for Dr. Moore? He lives much closer.
Come on, Charlie. Charlie, wake up.
Oh, Rhoda, get someone. Mr. Bravo is so ill, I'm sure he's going to die.
Mr. Harrison has been sent
Never
for.
mind, get someone nearer. Get Dr. Moore, I don't care who it is! Oh, Charlie. Oh, Charlie.
You've made no diagnosis?
Chloroform. The bottle's too small. We must take action to restore the heart. I attempted to give him brandy and water. He just couldn't swallow it. Perhaps he should have an enema.
There's scarcely any pulse at all. We must try again to rouse him.
Mrs. Bravo, I must ask you to leave the room.
Oh, Charlie. What have you done?
Mrs. Bravo, please.
Charlie.
Come, Florence.
Charlie.
Come.
Charlie. Charlie, wake up. Do you know me?
You are Roy's. What time is it?
Almost 3 o'clock.
Ah.
Charlie. Charlie. Charlie.
Mr. Bell. Mr. Bell. I must speak to you for a moment, please. There is something. Charlie told me he had taken poison. He said, don't tell Florence.
I think you'd better tell that to Dr. Johnson. It's no use sending for doctors if you don't tell them what the problem is. Something very important to communicate.
Yes?
Mr. Bravo said, I have taken some of that poison. Don't tell Florence when he was taken ill.
Did you find out anything more?
No.
The nature of the poison? Where or why he'd taken it?
He was too ill.
Why did you not tell me this before?
I thought I had.
You certainly did not. You told me you were sure he had taken chloroform.
Yes, that is what I meant.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Cox. Mr. Bravo, Mrs. Cox tells us that you have spoken to her about taking poison. What did you mean by that?
I don't remember having spoken to anyone of taking poison. Oh, I rubbed some laudanum on my gums for face ache. I may have swallowed some of that.
Laudanum will not explain her symptoms.
How is it, Charlie?
You're a good fellow, Royce. Coming to see me.
Chloroform and laudanum.
He passed blood per rectum. The heart almost stopped.
It's an innocent poison. We must test for arsenic. Mr. Bravo, what poisons have you in the house?
Chloroform. Condite fluid. Some rat poison in the stable. Oh, Royce! Am I going to live?
You're very ill, Charlie. You must know what you've had.
Laudanum. Nothing but that.
There is nothing you can do. Why do you not
I
sleep?
cannot. Cannot.
Ah, Mrs. Bravo.
Dr. Johnson, is there any hope for Charlie?
He's gravely ill. He says he's taken poison, but we cannot determine what it was.
Did he say that he had taken poison?
Mrs. Cox has told us so. He spoke to her of it.
Yes, he did. Come back to bed, Florence. If you lie down, I'm sure you will sleep.
Yes, I will try.
Well, Marianne. How are you?
Very well, sir. How are you?
Not much better.
Sorry for that, sir.
We shall not have our trip
to Worthing together now.
Oh, I hope we shall, sir.
My next trip will be to Streatham Churchyard. What a bother I am to you.
Don't say so, Charlie. It is no trouble, is it, Mary?
Oh, no,
When you bury me, Florrie, don't make any fuss. Don't want crepe or feathers, anything like that.
Say that, Charlie. But I won't, if it is your wish.
And I give all I possess to my wife, Florence Bravo, whom I hereby appoint my executrix.
You and Rose sign.
Yes, John.
Thank you, Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Bravo. Yes, sir.
Charlie, have you anything on your mind? Anything you wish to tell me?
No. I have not led a religious life, you know. Where is my mamma? And Father Joseph?
Coming soon.
It has happened all so suddenly. He had been so well. He hated the court and said the air would kill him, but in the Easter vacation he has been at home and there has been nothing.
Royce is with him.
All the time. The only thing I can think of to account for it is the luncheon at St. James's Hall. Whether he ate something that was cooked in a coppery pan. I heard of someone who did that and was made out.
You said your horse had run away with him. You should have sold them as I told him.
Father Joseph.
Come, my dear.
Hello, Mama.
Charlie?
Are you in much pain?
Royce wants me to have laudanum, but I won't. Rub some on my gums, and...
Now I'm here. I want to take sole charge of nursing my son. There's no need for anyone else to stay in the room except his doctors.
Florence and Mrs. Cox have been with him since the commencement of...
Let Mrs. Bravo have her way. It will be best if she takes my room, which is next door. I will move my things to Mrs. Cox's room.
Thank you, Florence. That seems a sensible arrangement, and Joseph will assist me.
Yes, my dear.
I will, of course, continue such treatment as his doctors may advise.
Yes, Mother, as you will.
It's Mrs. Cox, Dr. Gully.
Mrs. Cox?
She's in the hall.
I gave orders she was not to be admitted.
I'm sorry, Dr. Gully. It's about young Mr. Bravo. He's much worse than we had heard. She told me he's dying.
Dying?
I thought very likely she came to ask you to go and see him. She flustered me, Dr. Gully. That's how it was.
Oh, I'm sorry for that. Well, I suppose I'd better see her now you've let her in.
Mrs.
Dr.
Cox,
Gully, Mrs. Bravo sent me. Mr. Bravo is very ill. The doctors have despaired of him. She wants me to ask you if there is anything we can do for him. He is in great pain. He told me he had taken poison.
What was the nature of the poison?
I do not know. The doctors say it is an irritant. He is suffering very much.
Of course, I cannot see him. Whatever I may suggest would have to be approved by those in charge. If they will consider some homeopathic, possibly hydropathic treatment, there may be something I could do.
If there was anything, Mrs. Bravo would be so grateful.
As you ask me, I must respond for Mrs. Bravo.
The test for arsenic is negative.
I shall not believe that Charles took poison. I have now told my wife of Mrs. Cox's statement, and that is her opinion, too.
Is there nothing more that you can do?
I fear, Mrs. Bravo, the case is hopeless.
Then, as his wife, I must now have my own way. I have heard from a friend that he has cured these symptoms by applying a mustard poultice to the spine, a cold compress to the stomach, and arsenicum internally.
Homeopathic treatment?
Yes, but I want it tried.
No one who saw your husband would believe he could be recovered by such means. The only part I object to is the mustard poultice. He's in pain enough already. I would not torture him like that. Of course, I assume the arsenicum is to be given in infinitesimal doses.
Yes, 2 drops in water.
You may have that ad libitum if it will satisfy you. I fear it will not help him.
It is my wish.
Governor, what do they say?
They're concerned, Charles. But I told them while there's life, there's hope.
If you want.
Dearest. This is Charlie's cousin, Anne Maria Bell. Her brother Royce has been with Charlie all along. How do you do, Mrs. Campbell? I left your father at home. He's not been well.
Florence, how do you account for what has happened? Mrs. Cox told me in the carriage that Charles has taken poison. What does this mean?
I don't know. I wish I did. You've been so very, very happy. Charles has said that he has never been so happy in all his life before. We've never had a word together.
Is there anything else that can be done?
I sent Mrs. Cox with a note to Sir William Gulf. You remember he came to Muscat.
Sir William is a very busy man.
I want him to see Charlie. His opinion is the first in London. If he comes in time...
Florence.
This is not disease. You are poisoned. Pray tell us how you came by it.
I took it myself.
What did you take?
Laudanum.
You've taken more than laudanum. You have a legal mind. You know the meaning of the whole truth.
If you do not tell us more than we know at present, someone may be accused or suspected of having caused your death.
I cannot help that. I have taken nothing else.
Think, man. If we could find the antidote. No, that would not be fair. I fear no antidote would do you good. Where was he sick?
This window.
Ah, it is there still, you see, on the leads of the balcony. That should be seen to. Have one of the servants climb out. Place it in a clean jar, and then send it for analysis. Tell him to use a silver spoon. There will be enough contamination from the leads already.
I should have thought of that myself.
Will you come with me, Mrs. Brown?
Sir William, Charlie wants to see you. He's called you back.
Sir William, I wish to tell you that I have told you the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
You must consider the gravity of your situation and of all you say and do.
I know I am about to appear before my Maker. I have told them all this, but they do not believe it. I took laudanum, and nothing but laudanum, to rub on my gums.
That don't account for the symptoms you were suffering from.
If there was anything else in it, I don't know what it was.
Where did you get it from, Charlie?
From out of your bottle, Florence.
It is not for me to press a dying man. But if we could only know what you have taken, we might be able to relieve you.
I have taken laudanum. Nothing but laudanum. If it was not laudanum, so help me God, I don't know what it was. Far as I know, it was laudanum. What can you do?
Looking at your condition, Bravo, it would not be right for me to give you any hope. There is very little life left in you. In fact, you are half dead now. I am sorry.
Mother, be kind, Florence. Be kind to her.
I'm never unkind to anyone.
I will be kind to Florence, Charlie.
Goodbye, Mother.
Goodbye, my dear.
Shall we say Lord's Prayer together? Our Father,
which
art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive them that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Mrs. Bravo?
Oh, Marianne. Mr. Bravo is dead.
Did he die?
A few minutes ago. And Maria, it is very strange.
Yes.
Charlie's death is a mystery. And it will always remain one. Always. A mystery.
you.